Hey, good morning or afternoon or evening. I'm Chase Cunningham or Dr. Cunningham or Dr. Zero Trust. No one cares. Let's get into something important. Let's start talking to people that actually, provide some value and do things in the space rather than just sit around pontificating and griping, which is me, Maggie Dillon and Albert Whale. Why don't you guys give a quick introduction on who you are and what you do, and we'll just go from here.
Go
Well,
ahead,
thank you
Max.
for having us. My name is Maggie Dillon. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with IT Security Solutions. I'm a global relations strategist, and I love working with tech portfolios. And working with Albert's been a pleasure. Yourself as well, Chase. So happy to be here.
See, somebody said they like working with me, so there's one person out of the many. All right.
Like working with Chase too.
I'm
As a
batting
matter
a
of fact, we
thousand.
wrote a book together.
We did. Yeah. Yep. So,
Hashtag hack two.
yeah.
I'll have an offer later on for anybody that wants a copy of the book. Albert Whale. I'm the founder of IT Security Solutions. And I think that we're going to talk about zero trust and employing it inside your network.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair. It would be remiss if I didn't have some zero trust something on this podcast because Lord knows I talk enough about it and I, own the trademark too. So that's fun. But so let's go down into kind of your position. Like why did you guys decide to start your own company? I mean, there's already 7 gabillion Israeli cybersecurity startups. Why you?
Well, they're not going to be cleared for a government contract for number one.
Fair.
Second, we're here in the United States and I'm protecting the national infrastructure, which I've done before in founding the Pittsburgh InfraGard, which is now the InfraGard Member Alliance nationwide. So, working in cyber, you begin to see things differently, or at least I did. And I started seeing anomalies where everybody thought that they were safe, but they weren't. The firewalls weren't stopping people. The virus scanners weren't stopping people. And by the way, what happened to zero-day threats? They're not even detectable, not with traditional tools anyway.
So then, I mean, the question that I think anybody would ask now almost, because I'm starting to get it from people, is like, if this is an unwinnable space, if we're just never going to be able to keep up, like, what's the fix? And I mean, I'm leading the witness here because I know kind of where this goes, but like, Maggie, in your opinion, where are we? Where does this go? Like, are you guys just trying to cure cancer 2.0, or where's the play?
Personally, I think it starts with validation. And Albert did not mention he's also a U.S. veteran. And that's one thing that we really thrive in is partnering with U.S. veteran owned companies. It's just a different level and breed of intelligence when it comes to the zero trust aspect. When I think about global relations strategy from a zero trust aspect, you're protecting your investors, their investments, all the way down to the end user, and that filters in through our clients. That's always something that I really focus on mostly, and then also the compliance of everything. And a lot of times we don't get a call till there's been a major catastrophe. So it's really about starting from the ground up, from inception, getting cybersecurity in with all of those partners from the get-go. And I've seen it time and time again where that is not the case. And cybersecurity is kind of like considered to be an insurance almost with these organizations, even from
Usually
startup.
an after, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, if that's where we're at, like, define the new approach that you guys are taking that's different than everybody else. Because, like I said, there's the last count that I saw from Richard Steenan, I think, is there's almost 5,000 security vendors in the space. Which, holy shit! I mean, we've cured cyber somehow or another. Like, I don't. This is a relatively finite problem, but what's the better mousetrap? Either one of you, Albert or Maggie, feel free.
Yeah, I think that the real gist of this is getting it inside the network while you detect it, not waiting for the event to happen and then reading a log file later on after the configuration is changed 18 months later. That's not protecting anyone. That's just confirming that the breach happened. What we're doing is different, and we're actually finding the vulnerability and or the threat going in or out of the network real time.
So is that I mean, because an enterprise, right? If I'm play a devil's advocate, if I put an enterprise in there, they would say we got socks and we got hunters and we got all of the stuff and whatever else. So I'm guessing your particular play is probably not just on enterprise side, right? This is probably mid-size SMB, kind of everybody that's out there side.
Yeah, that's the issue because the enterprise thinks that they have it, but they're working with small business. Small business has a tight budget because, well, they're small business. They're the front door, which is the back door to the big business, to the enterprise. So if you attack the small business, you're already inside. I've
Yeah, I
seen
mean,
that time and time again.
there was an article that just came out today about Discord because Discord had a breach recently. Funny enough, I was literally on Discord talking to some people when the breach occurred and all of a sudden it stopped working. So that was cool. But Yeah, but the whole thing is right now the blame game is going on where Discord is pointing at a partner going like, "You guys let this happen." And the partner, which maybe it's a get out of jail free card, their response is like, "How the fuck would I know? Because I'm not up on this." So,
Right.
well, like, well, it seems like we should have a better fix for this. And I guess the other side of the question too, maybe Maggie jumps on this one, is like, what do you do when SMBs now have that argument that's not valid, but they still put out there of like, well, I'm a small business. Why would somebody attack me?
Well, I think, and I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate to that question right there because, I'm not a technician like the two of you in that aspect, but we are working with generations that don't trust people anyways. They came from a zero trust just from when they grew up, and I think one of the biggest disconnects that I've seen, and I've harped on this for years, is how do you gain trust with people who don't trust and don't know anything about IT or cybersecurity? You got the budget aspect, but on the flip side of that, you have to build those relationships with those small businesses and encourage them that if they don't have the budget, will they go with you out the gate? And, those are, and I'll just say this, I'm from the Midwest. Very different culture here than on the coast or even on the southern states. So it's a different approach no matter what market you go to. And I think also the back end on that is you got to educate them. I see so many different business development executives or strategists who work for these big organizations from enterprise all the way down that they don't know how to approach, they don't know how to communicate or build relationships or partnerships. And you got to be able to educate them, one, on your services, but two, once you get the service in there, then keep educating them continually because there's so many changes happening. We can't keep up. I mean, we're at a deficit with cybersecurity professionals as is. So I think that it really starts with the relationship building. And there's a lot of people that like to just stay behind a computer. They don't like to get out there and shake hands. So how do we get some of these people out from behind the computer and share their tribal knowledge?
It's a good point. My wife tells me all the time. She's like, I don't know how you do speeches on stage because when you're home, you don't want to talk to humans or be around them or whatever. I'm like, I'm an introverted extrovert. Right. I got to do. I'm fine here behind my camera where no one can bother me, but I get a little bit itchy. I was in New York and Boston last week, and the whole time I was just thinking, I got to get out of here. Like it's too many people running around and too much close contact with that weird allegory. I mean, I think the question comes up all the time too of like, and you sent me a pretty good talking point on this, Albert, was like, well, most organizations would say, well, we've achieved a compliance objective. Compliance, I've said it repeatedly, does not equal security, but you're seeing that is uniquely relevant in this space, correct?
I see compliance as the roadmap for the attackers to get inside
Fair.
because they're told that if you have somebody trying to authenticate on a password and they do more than 5 times in a minute, that you should lock that account or lock that IP. And that's fair. But if that's the rule, I'm only going to do it 3 or 4 times a minute so that I'm not triggered.
Yeah. So you stay just below the noise floor. And that's a really good point because if you know who Guccifer is, right? The guy, he's like one of the leaders of one of the Russian orgs. And I mean, the guy is so bold. He actually drives a really ugly, very European Lambo around the Kremlin with the word on his license plate says thief in Cyrillic. He's got giant balls, which whatever. But I mean, the thing about it is he's said on camera before, I like compliant environments and I like insurance companies because they tell us who's going to pay and how to get there. I mean, Maggie, what do you think about that?
Typical American response. That doesn't scare me. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll raise your Lambo easily. I think that's something that if you get into this space, I think you have to have big balls anyways. And we're kind of the police of the internet, and we have police and all sorts of people coming to us through letter agencies because they need our helps. It's a very egotistical landscape, and you hit the nail on the head talking about insurance companies because we're talking about teaching compliance and how to do fire drills to should you have a massive hack, you can get coverage from your insurance company. Well, can you trust the insurance company? No. So how do you get
Insurance has
that?
never screwed anyone. I mean, for real, like that's never happened.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah,
Wait, you totaled your car. How much is it worth? 500 bucks? Come on, it's 3
Yeah.
years old.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I always love that too when it's like, oh, you've been paying us for 25 years and you want to claim now. Well, we have to raise your rate. But wait, I paid you Like, I've paid this car off 3 times, and you're telling me now I gotta pay. Anyway, sorry, Maggie, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, it's okay. It's I've done executive recruiting for God almost 20 years now. I try to get away from it, but it actually just found me again today, and I'll hopefully do a little quick plug for that at the end of this. But one of our top clients was a very top leading insurance organization, and their processes internally were snail speed. And one of my biggest concerns was is that I said I can fill your roles all day, but no offense, I don't trust you guys. Your security isn't even up to par. So why would I want to fill your IT roles with people that are top notch? Because they're going to get bored. So
Yeah.
it's a difficult landscape to kind of work and mitigate, but I think you just have to be really direct and not hold back. Everyone's so worried about being politically correct. I'm the worst person for that. And sometimes you just got to go out there and say it how it is. And if they don't want to listen to you, then they're not your client. They're not the best person to work with.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. And for the record, anyone that listens to this, when we say has balls, we mean it in the royal right. We like not just the genetic, male side of the equation. Balls means fortitude. Balls means you've got some gumption. So don't send me any hate mail about using that word on this because I don't care. I mean,
There
going
you go.
further, I really literally legitimately like I don't give a shit. Like that's your problem. It's a big internet. Go somewhere else. But on top of the issue that we see with that whole side of the equation, I mean, would you, Albert or Maggie, either one, would you try and talk a business out of a particular thing in cyber and moving towards a different approach? Like, don't get insurance or don't get IAM or don't spend so much on endpoint. I mean, because like you said, there's a budget conversation that has to happen. And SMBs, they're going to always go, where do I save money? Enterprises can just dump money down the toilet. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Where's the sanity check?
Yeah, I think it starts with what we're offering, our real-time security appliance, because we're going to show them right away what's inside already. Let's face it. You have a phone, right? Where was it built?
China,
How about your computer?
China,
The monitor, the microphone, the camera.
China, China,
So
China.
our supply chain is totally corrupt. And if we're not looking real time at events going on inside our network, then we're missing the boat. Now, you can have insurance all day long. They're not going to fix the problem. They might get you some monitoring for LifeLock for credit, for your clients. But personally, I don't recommend it because if an event's already happened, it's too late.
Maggie, where's your threshold on this? Like, how do you talk someone into the smart sort of resource allocation?
First thing I do is I quiz them. To go back to the recruiting standpoint, I wouldn't even take on searches if I didn't feel confident in the person that was going to be hiring. And I'm really big on your team being the one that's going to help save your ass when it comes to, the fire starting. A lot of these companies don't even have proper SOPs in place. They haven't updated them in 3 or 4 years. That's insane to me, especially when you've got multi-million dollar, billion-dollar organizations, and you'd be surprised how many of them aren't updating them appropriately. So yeah, I like going head to head. I like quizzing. And more importantly, I really enjoy working with companies that want to actually partner and not tell me how it is and be very advantageous of them being the best in the market. That's not the case. If anyone tells you they're the best in the market, they haven't done their research. The competition is steep no matter what industry you're in, especially with technology these days. I think anybody that works in this industry should absolutely go head to head and try to convince them what the best, latest, and greatest product is. And something with us is, we're really big on ethical integrity. And when you have all these back doors built in, how do you do that? I'm sitting here right next to an iPhone. It's kind of a catch-22 in that sense. But I'm always about, I don't want to say conflict resolution, but I enjoy those debates because you find out real quick who knows their stuff and who's more importantly willing to actually work with you and partner correctly.
So if we're talking about the hardware and supply chain issue, I mean, so you guys are offering an appliance, Albert, which was what you were talking about earlier. I'm sure that there's a software version coming too, because there's always a software side of it. But like, are you guys manufacturing in the US? Or I mean, if you're getting stuff from China and assembling in the US, someone could make the argument that that's compromised too. Like, what's the difference in your approach to this problem?
Well, the difference is we're looking at active connections. Whether it's built in the US or China, we're able to discern where are the connections going. And then we can decide, is this a business need, a requirement, or is this something that is malicious that has been injected or embedded into the platform itself so that we can block it?
So
That's not
then,
something that's going on in traditional tools, okay? And most of them are only looking for known threats. And let's
so
face it, I
yep.
think there is over 34,000 known new threats this year alone. But with AI and quantum computing, that's just going to explode. How hard is it to take a known threat, change 3 bytes, and make it an unknown? And how are you going to detect it?
So I guess that leads me to my kind of follow on there, because for clarification side on the 2.5 people that listen to my podcast, like what is the unique difference in the way that you're approaching it? Because somebody, I guarantee you, if I went over and said, Zscaler or Palo or whatever, I said, tell me how you do this, they would say, well, we do that too. So like, what's the difference in how you guys are approaching the problem versus the market that's been doing it for a while? And I mean, everyone has a better mousetrap. What is the better mousetrap?
Yeah, I
Well,
think it's real time. Go ahead, Max.
no, real time. Obviously, as we scale, we definitely want to keep operations here in the United States. I'm going to be really pumping that as we grow. And something that I think is different about our approach, and I'll just give an example, we are working very strategically with critical infrastructure with regards to electricity, hydrogen power, as well as our farms and the food that all the Americans are going to need. God forbid the grid goes down. It starts from those resources and those partnerships that are very, very much needed to be protected in every single aspect. And it gets so complex very quickly when you're trying to get these partnerships in place, and also bring in, people that really care, people that are available 24/7. And I think that that's what makes us a little bit different. A lot of our other organizations, some of the ones that you mentioned, Zscaler or whatnot, a lot of them are going more the AI route. There's a lot of people that aren't hands on. There's a lot of people that can't get on site right away. It's a 2-day process. Right now we're working obviously the Pittsburgh market, working in Eastern Ohio, West Virginia. But we're obviously going to grow to a much bigger scale. I'm really working hard on that for Albert and the rest of our team.
Well, you got some projects coming up in the South right now.
Yes, yes. We just landed a huge one, and then the one I got today is even more outstanding. It's going to be filling very high level roles with an $8.6 billion organization from Maine to Florida. These contracts are anywhere from a year to 10 years, and all those people that I'm networking with, we're going to bring back to ITSS, and I'm working with the best of the best. And that sounds snotty, and I'll say it again. I don't care how bougie I sound. I only want to work with the best of the best and people that actually care. I don't want just technicians. I want people that love our country and that are really strategic in the partnerships that we're making.
Hmm. So that's interesting. So it sounds like there's a kind of a services component to this as well as the technology side. Like seems like you guys are punching, I would say pretty far above your weight class just coming out of the gate,
We're heavyweights. Come on now, Chase. You should know
right?
this.
Swing for the fences. I mean, who
I love
cares about?
Muhammad Ali. That's how we roll.
I've only been doing this a couple days.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get it. It's good to know that because that's where I think a lot of small and mid-size typically lose the game here is that they say, okay, I bought a bunch of tech. And you go, cool, make it work. And they go, I don't know how to do that. And then it winds up sort of being like Frankenstein together. And then there's
Yes.
some usage, and then to your point, Albert, like I'm an SMB. I'm not going to go hire a $500,000 a year CISO for me and 3 other people or me and
And
20
that's
other
the
people.
beauty. They don't need it.
So they're
Not,
gonna be
not with
working
our
with you
clients.
guys as part of that, like, part of that is part of the offering of having kind of the soup to nuts sort of side of the equation. Is that correct?
That's fair.
Absolutely. And on a grand scale, I really want to talk to this because I know you got a lot of high powered people listening, hopefully. Um, when we talk investment and investors, working with VCs, PEs, I've been on Wall Street, was out there not too long ago. Um, we really enjoy working with private family offices. And what I have noticed time and time again is these investors do not know education when it comes to zero trust. They know the keywords. They don't know cybersecurity like we do. And I see a lot of pitches going on where companies are not doing the education they need during the pitch to the investor. They're talking about their company, why they need investment, da 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 da. No, you have to educate them and make sure that they feel comfortable in the partnership. And it's really difficult when you get investors who are just so out of touch with reality. And I'll say that. And then you've got investors like the three of us here, and I'm fairly new to this landscape in the last 3 to 4 years myself, but it starts from the very top down and continuing to get that financing and then also backing it up with new technology and working with all of your partners on the other end of it, talking about, how are we going to get these employed people on our team that we can really trust? How do we get the product where we need it to be? How do we grow it on a global scale all at once and have 8 million moving parts while making sure we all stay safe? It's very, very intense and it's fast paced, but I think all three of us can speak to that's what we love. At least I thrive in that space, and I'm sure you two do as well. So
Yeah, I would know what to do if things were not absolute chaos all the time. God
It's
forbid.
controlled chaos, though, right,
Yeah.
Chase?
So, I mean, but so Walk me through. I'm in a, let's say I'm a mid-sized business or small business in, let's say, here in Virginia, right? And I reach out to you guys.
Yeah.
What is the process and what should I expect? Because I think that that is where a lot of folks would want to hear from the horse's mouth immediately. What you're going to do and how is it going to work?
The initial assessment is the first step. So we'll set up a plan, come on site, bring an appliance with us, and do an initial scan.
Mm,
Some scans only take 10 minutes to an hour. Sometimes it's an overnight thing. The thing that we always find is there's usually 20 to 50 foreign countries inside that environment already. Now, I don't think they invited them in. I don't think that they asked for a coin miner to be implanted on a TV or a laptop running inside their environment, which is also a backdoor for the criminals that are managing the coin miner. But since it's already inside their network, their security is not going to block it.
yeah, because it's trusted. It's inside of the infrastructure, and it probably already has shares and creds and all those things. Okay, so you guys have done your stuff there, and we've decided or found that there's an issue. What's the next step with y'all
Well, we'd leave the appliance in place,
to start doing its
ideally,
thing? Yeah.
and it automatically blocks the activities that we're finding.
Okay.
And with regard to what Albert's saying, in the very near future, we will be moving from appliance to not having a physical presence in that sense.
Virtual appliance, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. But also something that I really want to focus on, especially with small to medium sized companies, because of their budget. They're working with managed service providers, and a lot of these MSPs do not have cybersecurity to the level that they need to be. All it takes is one hack, and 100 of their clients are down. And imagine what that could be on a grand scale. There's different ways that an appliance does come in a little bit more in favor versus virtual, especially should, God forbid, the grid goes down, things like that. And again, I think it just comes back to the education, and also our price range is outstanding. We really beat our competition on the pricing. And I will say this, with all of the different companies I've seen, products I've seen, Albert's dashboard is phenomenal. I was blown away, and it continues to really impress me as we grow and go into different landscapes. So I think it's something that any small business owner could really appreciate. We've heard nothing but great things from our current clients. And I can't say enough good things.
What's the footprint look like on a physical appliance right now? Is it something I can just stick in a rack, or do I have to kind of put it under the desk, or like small
Oh, yeah,
business?
it's definitely rack mountable depending on the scale of the organization.
Yeah.
If you're running to 20 employees in a company, we can actually get a Nook size appliance. It's a 4x4 cube, and that works perfectly fine, keeps the cost down, but it has enough throughput that it can stream Netflix on 5, 6 devices at the same time, and everybody's happy. Unless you're doing the New York Stock Exchange, that's certainly not going to work for 20 people, but we'll scale accordingly.
Yeah. So, okay. So that makes tons of sense. And then on the services side, VCSO and, the other pieces of this that you're talking about, like what's the play there for us? Like I said, we've run through this kind of scenario of you guys help me discover weird things, bad things. We've got an appliance in place. The cube sounds great for my SMB. And now, like Maggie, like you've got all these people that are super awesome. What are they going to do for me?
It really depends on what the strategy is. I like doing more of the rainmaking 2 or 3 years out, what the company needs in the next few years. Yeah, we can take care of you now, but if I don't understand where your roadmap is in the next 2 or 3 years, and if you don't even have that developed, how can we sit down and figure that out? Knowing top talent, and not that we're necessarily going to be a recruiting firm or filling positions or anything like that, but that's going to help our team as we grow, bringing in top talent. From a VCSO aspect, we have a lot of people that want to partner with us that we can get over to you. Albert, I'll let you kind of speak a little bit more on that.
Sure. I think initially what we're going to find are the defects that are in the environment already that are being handled. And in addition to preserving the longevity of their old equipment, let's say Windows 10 just fell off support, but I've seen Windows 7 inside utilities and
Oh, I've seen
control systems.
Windows, not even 7, just Windows.
Windows, yes, 3.1.
I've seen XP. Like I have a hook into the Shodan API, and I get prints all the time, and it's like, wow, XP, nice. Like, all right,
Right? And
yeah,
there's so many holes there that they're not covering with their traditional tools. They feel safe until we come in and show them reality.
okay.
This is a
So there's
reality check.
Well,
okay.
and
So
So
there's
something
a
else too, I was going to say, Albert kind of talked a little bit about it previously. We want to get this on a consumer basis. So every household could have this product plugged in, working on their phones, that type of thing. But also, I mean, we have a client, and she's a sole proprietor business owner, works out of her home, and she wanted the appliance in her home just to keep herself protected. I mean, so many of us are working remote and working for ourselves, and this is the perfect opportunity to make sure that you're staying safe on a much better level than getting some of these, McAfees and things like that to really get you to the next level and keep you safe,
Yeah,
as well
they're
as your
looking
Yeah.
for the
clients.
artifacts. We're
Yeah, I
not.
mean,
We're looking at live.
I've got lots of security software in my place just because I'm paranoid or whatever. But I mean, and to your point, like most of it is pretty black box. I don't really know what it's doing on the super cool side of whatever. And it just
Oh,
kind of, I'd
big
love to see.
differentiator here. We have a dashboard. We can give you a monitor and keyboard, and you can instantly see what's going on at a glance.
Yeah, see that type of stuff I think would be very interesting because most of it, I mean, depending on what you're running and whatever, especially consumer or non-enterprise that doesn't have a SOC 24/7, it's pretty black box.
I was going to call this sock in a box, but that's a little high level for a lot of smaller companies. Look, if they want to grow, they're going to have to become compliant at some point in time.
Mhm.
And our appliance covers 26 items out of the CMMC level 2 certification.
Oh
That
wow.
alone is going to help a lot of defense industrial based companies to secure their contracts with their larger providers.
Okay.
Same thing with SOC 2, GLB, GDPR. What we're doing hasn't been done before, and it's unified in a single centralized place. And we can share the data with their internal systems, but why bother? It's already being managed and taken care of. And there's no vulnerability list that they have to manage. Managing vulnerabilities never seems to end because you never fix them. This is an appliance that fixes the vulnerability it finds by breaking the connection so it never happens.
Then what if, I guess, devil's advocate, we've been doing advocating a lot for the devil today, but anyway, devil's advocate, like what if the argument is going to be from somebody, well, what if you find this vulnerability on my application is critical to my business and you break the connection, you just killed my business. Like, how do we deal with that?
So we're breaking the connection on the vulnerable connection,
Yep.
not permanently through the whole communications channel, just that one event.
Okay. Okay. So if they had, I don't know, crazy use case, if somebody had some custom application that they built back in 2008, that is, I don't know, during the, trying to come up with dumb shit, but like measuring the air pressure of a tire regulator in their tire shop, right? And you guys drop your stuff in there, and all they can do is, fix tires all day, like that's them. And you guys drop your stuff in there, and it detects, hey, you've got 3 outbound connections from this application or related to this application going to two to China and one to .ru. What would be the machinations of securing that?
If they have to have those, and that's a business requirement, we can whitelist those connections to allow it to continue.
Okay.
But that would have to come with, a sign off saying, yes, we understand that this is a connection to a hostile environment, but we need it anyway. Most
So,
of what we're doing is
mm,
following the rules of the game. Let's do reconnaissance in the network. Then we're going to survey and see what other devices there are. There's this tool chain step.
mhm.
Well, if they're doing reconnaissance in your network, do you really want that to happen?
Yeah, I mean, that's the lateral movement side and things along those lines. And I definitely understand where there would be a real value proposition for CMMC, especially at level 2, because there's a bunch of organizations that are going to have to be there. And I think November 10th now is the drop
Even
dead
level
day.
one,
Yeah,
that's hard enough,
right. Especially if
especially if
you're,
you don't have security yet at all.
yeah, I still think they're going to wind up, reconfiguring CMMC for the 55th time. But I mean, they keep pushing some of this stuff out and they don't
The more
understand.
you defer, the less secure it is.
Well, yeah, it's just like the other side of the equation is if you're in the DIB and they come back and they say everybody's got to be CMMC by X date, well, half the DIB is mom and pop shops that don't have, any of these capabilities. So it's, do we grant exceptions or kick it down the curb or anyway. So okay. So I
That's a
like to keep
different conversation, but
that's a
that goes
longer,
along with vendor supply chain,
yeah.
which, maybe the prime needs to come and say, we have all these vendors that are looking to work with us, and we need a solution. We have one that will help supply or support the security of all those small businesses
Hmm.
today.
Yeah, and then they could be a push that out into those small businesses and kind of make it a standard type deal. That makes sense.
Business requirement.
Okay.
Well, and on the back end of what you just said, Chase, you were asking about how we could go to head to head and recommend other products or services that we would approve off of. That's where we work with other organizations on the education piece. They're going to be able to come in and help us in these types of scenarios where, after we whitelist something, hey, is that still the best way to do this process? Is there a way that we can help work with you? And that's something that I think we're really committed to on the operational side of IT security solutions too. So you're not going to get that with every provider.
Yeah, makes I mean that's what I think most folks in the vertical that you guys are talking to are looking for is kind of closer to that one pane of glass, one-stop shop, services plus tech, type of thing. Enterprises, different story, but enterprises got their own issues. They should be solving that problem on the far end of
And
it.
they're supporting their own staff to do that.
Yeah.
Small to mid-size, they don't have the resources, and they might be trying to use IT, but IT is already overwhelmed.
Well, in IT, like I think we've done ourselves a lot of them disservice in this space by trying to like shove IT people towards security and then trying to shove security people towards IT because I don't want to do IT.
Me neither.
But yeah, like I would rather go see the proctologist and the dentist in the same afternoon than do IT. Hopefully
Been
they
there,
don't.
done that, and designed the T-shirt too.
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't mix up their tools, because that could be a real bad day.
Ooh, they're in different offices, Chase.
Right. Make sure they're physically, yeah, separate. So I like to keep these things, around 30 so minutes. So like last parting thoughts, like if you were going to tell somebody in the next X number of months or whatever, here's what's coming or here's why we should be considered or part of the equation, like where do we go from here? And Albert, I'll start with you and Maggie, you can wrap it up.
Yeah, I want to start off with, this isn't our first rodeo. I've written 4 books, and Chase, you're in #hack2. I'm going to offer an electronic copy of this for anyone that's wanting us to come out and do an assessment, or if you're just interested in finding out more about what we do and how we do it, send me an email and you'll have our email address that they can click down on the link. I'll be happy to send it out to them.
There you go. Free books. Everybody likes free. I like free books. Even if I wrote it, I like free books.
I'll send you another one.
Maggie, your thoughts?
Personally, I think one of the favorite things that we bring to the table is we secure our clients' infrastructures on how we operate, and we really do it on a very personal basis. We also safeguard our investor integrity, and we want to make sure that we're working around the clock in every single angle. We're not just here to serve our investors; we're here to really help those mom and pop shops and the entrepreneurs that are the backbone of this country. And I would also say Albert and I are always available, especially on LinkedIn. If you have heard this and you got inspired in any way, even if you just want to meet and somehow do some mentorship or anything like that, please connect with us because we will reach out. And if anyone has any questions, we're happy to do a free consultation. It's a no bullshit type of game with us. What you see is what you get. We're very direct, and we're not here to necessarily work around people's feelings. We're here to save you some money and make sure you get all of your return on your investment appropriately.
Makes lots of sense for me. I appreciate when people don't kick around things and we just get stuff done. But then, how would consultants make money? A different story. We could always have another conversation about that one. So, folks, if you're out there looking, go reach out to Maggie Dillon. Reach out for Albert Whale. They're bringing stuff to market right now. They are rolling out in the continental U.S., which is great. And they're serving the market that needs serving, small and mid-size, and everyone that's been ignored. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on here. I'll make sure I throw in everything, links, and whatever else I can point them to, and keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Chase.